planning the test. Planning of the test is the important step in the test construction. Without planning of the test, we can't do anything. Here, whenever we are going for the planning, we need to see what is the evaluation process, what is the validity and reliability, and what is the useful data about the student. Suppose if you are collecting the student's data, which school he is studying, and what is the school, and what is the age and academic background, and the socio-demographic variables. All these things we need to consider. So here, whenever we are planning the data, we need to get into the major consideration. So then only we can plan the test. And in planning the test, we have two things. One is determining the objective of the testing. A test can be used different purposes in teaching processes. But here, what is the entry performance and what is the mastery level achieved by the students? See, we are conducting the test for intellectual group. Okay, what is the instrument we are doing? We are seeing the entry performance. Entry performance is the class. Okay, what are the skills here the student required to undergo the course? So here, knowledge and even what kind of a entry performance means what kind of a age and what kind of the knowledge you have to complete the 10th class or 9th class. Okay, see here, these are called prerequisite skills. So here, these things are determining the objective of testing. So before testing itself, we will determine what are the objectivities that data is matching. So whenever this matching, then only we'll go for that. Next thing, preparing test specification. Here, the second important test in the construction is specification. In order to see this test specification, we need to measure actually representative of sample of the instructional objectivities and content areas. We must prepare test specification so that we can elaborate the design in the necessary for test construction. Whenever we are going for the table of specification, actually this is called blueprint. Okay, what are the things we require and what are the things, what are the sample size and what are the dimensions we are looking for. Means objectives, what is the content, what are the dimensions, age group, male or female, how many male, how many female. Okay, are we going to the comparative study? Are we going with this? This is called blueprint. What is the age? What is the qualification? Where the persons belongs to? What is the socio-demographic variable like academic condition? What kind of a knowledge? These are the things all comes under blueprint. Okay, here in blueprint, now we'll see the major steps. First thing, weightage to different instructional objectives and determining the weightage of different content areas, determining the item types to be included, and the preparation of table specification. These are all the things we will consider into the blueprint. Next, determining the item types. What are the items we are looking for in the test construction? Okay, whenever we are going for the test construction process, first is instructional purposes. What are the instructions are we going to add? What is the objective types are most efficient? Whereas for others, the essay questions prove satisfactory. Actually, here, what are the things we are considering? What is the outcome of that? Based on that, we need to go with the item types and practical choices. Here, whenever we are developing the scale, we need to identify what are the choices. Actually, here, Erickson, he said 8 stages of life. So, on what basis? Suppose if you are going for a 7-point rating scale, okay, or multiple choice, okay, or true or false. So we need to see what are the stages we are going. Okay, so here we need to prepare based on the practical choices. Are you going for true or false or multiple choices? Or previously we already discussed about the strongly agree, disagree, undetermined, and strongly disagree, all these things. So here, what are the practical choice? We are defining that. Next, pool of items. Actually here, this is called table of specifications. In this, what are the things we are required? We are mentioning in the blueprint itself. But here, these are comes under the subtopics. Suppose here we discussed about the Erikson stages of age, Erikson 8 stages of life. Okay, here, how this relative importance? Is there anything relativity is there? And what are the subtopics? Suppose we are looking for the age groups. What are the age groups? Are they adolescents or uh, like suppose if it is like longitudinal study, are we seeing in every stage, like adolescent stage and young adulthood stage, like that? So here we need to see what are the items we are covering. Each stage, see, some questions is relevant to the at the stage of suppose if you are taking a stage, question is for 120. Okay, what are the stages? What age? Adolescence is what it's covering. Next, what is covering in the young adulthood. So here, the test developers will think in all aspects of the specification. Then they will go with the theoretical notion, and they will address all these things into their review of literature. So suppose if we are taking a sample of only the adolescents. So what are the other studies speaking about this? So they will mention here in the review of literature. So here, even the thinking of college and experts also they will mention. The next important thing, tryouts and refinement. Here, the initial pool of items will be probably the large and rather unrefined. Okay, whenever we are going for the refinement, okay, here items may be near duplication of each other. But I mean, sometimes we'll ask the same question in a repetitive manner in a different way. That means what kind of answer are we going to get? So suppose if the person is malingering, we can identify these things. So here, sometimes we do mention the criticizing items and we do mention the CAT2 class of psychology measures like uh, addressing items and clearly mentioned. So here, actually, whenever we are going for the study, research study, we'll go with the pilot test. Whatever the pilot test is revealing, so we can see that if any clear, what do you call glitches are there, then we can address. So we can filter it and we can go with the more sophisticated manner to go for the study. So here, refinement. So the pilot study, we can refine the things. And yeah, even while conducting the questionnaire in the pilot study, we can see what are the items is in the instructions. We can see the clear instructions, and even we can see what are the items required. And yeah, we'll call it as a pre-test also whenever we are doing. Suppose if you are doing pre-test and post-test and intervention, then these things also we can consider. So most of the pilot study reveal the preliminary data of the test. And here we already discussed in the previous class reliability and validity. Okay. Actually, whenever we are refining the pool of items to manageable size is made, the preliminary work of the above steps have been done. Okay. Here we need to see what the test instrument is reliable. It is that measures the supposed to be measured. Suppose if you are conducting an intelligence test, if you are conducting a personality questionnaire, how does it matter? So here we need to check whatever the test is, the questionnaire under the questionnaire is under the scale is relating to the intellectual capacity or not. And same thing, the validity also. So here we need to check the reliability and validity of the questionnaires. Suppose if you are someone is submitting a letter of article of a good level. So we need to check the question is related to the love and the good and what are the things is okay. Suppose if the person is financially responsible. Okay, here we need to see related to that only, that person's. So these are the things. If the questionnaire is containing the same related persons or not, we need to check. Next, standardization and norms. Whenever we are looking for the standardization, we need to see what are the norms as required and what are the standardized means the administration, time limits, and scoring procedure. All this comes under here the standardization of norms. Actually, whenever we are conducting the intelligence test, it's a time board test, 30 minutes time limit. Suppose if the examiner is not following the standard limits, if the person is taking 2 hours time limit, then this results is not comparable. So we don't consider the data. So here, whether the person is following the standardized norms, we need to check. Next, further refinements. Once the test is made with available, either commercially or other researchers, it often undergoes the refinements and revision. Actually, whenever we are conducting the test, we need to see the other revisions also. Okay, sometimes the quite major, sometimes the quite minor changes. Okay, here, what are the societal changes? Okay, yeah, we can go with the bias in language. Suppose if they are unable to understand the questions, we can explain to them on the short form, the original test. Okay, yeah, sometimes if the questionnaire is having 120 questions, they can go with the short form of the original test. All these things we can do the refinements. Okay, and even it shows the statistical procedures. We can go ahead with the star shorten without any substantial loss of availability. So yeah, these are the things we can see. Whenever we are seeing the things, we need to have an idea what are the things we are doing. So these are comes from the test construction. Now we'll go ahead with the principles of test construction. First, writing the test items. Writing the test items is very important. Suppose, for example, I enjoy swimming and tennis. Okay, here the poor item because you would know whether the response of true or false. Is suppose this is the statement. So here we need to check sometimes or frequently. Or if the person is not going for the tennis, only going with the swimming. So here true or false. Is that indoor or outdoor? So actually here we need to see all these answers sometimes or frequently. Because these words might mean different things to different people. See, do you have headache frequently? So here, do you have headache at least once in a week? So these are the two different questions. Okay, once in a week means people they may say yes, people they may say may not be. Okay, but here do you have headache frequently means how frequent? So these are all comes under category of items. So whenever we are seeing the category of items, constructed response, here we need to check whether the presented stimulus and produces a response. Okay, what kind of a complication it's giving. Okay, essay exams and sentence completion test are two examples. Suppose if you are looking for this, okay, here, when we are doing the constructed response items, here we need to check essay exams and sentence completion test are two examples. We need to see these two examples are matching or not. Next one, selected response items. Whether the subject selected the correct or best response from a list of options. Here we need to check. The typical multiple choice question is a good example. Okay, one is when the person is going with this kind of answer, then we need to see what are the things he is doing, what are the choices he is making. Okay, types of items. Actually, types of items, Mr. Jensen 1980, Westman 1971, they posted this. These are the more common ones. Actually, when we are discussing about the multiple choice items, here we whatever the responses they are giving, we need to see. Okay, usually 4 or 5 will be there. Most of the possibility answers in multiple choice items. So here, what are the particular area, content area they are going, and what is the vocabulary, and what is the general intelligence is required here. The incorrect options might be like a distractors. Okay, see, sometimes what people will do, they will go with the I don't know most of the times. Sometimes they will go with this kind of answer. So here we need to explain what are the whenever we are going with the multiple choice items. Okay, whenever we are going with the psychological functioning such as the depression or personality aspects, we need to see there are no incorrect answers. So, but we need to make them to understand whatever the answer you are giving, it reflects the test SSCs. So, whenever we are going, giving the 4 or 5 options, a number of writers have presented. Okay, here we need to understand this multiple choice question is to test your depression. So, please try to give the perfect answer. So all these things, Mr. Rebel 1969 and Helen Downing 1994, Lord 1944, they explained a lot. What is the importance of the options, how to switch the options, and what are the personality aspects we are measuring in the depression. Next one, true false items. When we are discussing about the true false items, if the subject identifies correct or incorrect. Actually, here we'll give you an example. Kolkata was the capital of India. Okay, I enjoy social gatherings. See, in the first example, what happened? It's a correct or wrong answer. So here we can say, okay, and I enjoy social gatherings. So here in the second example, there is not, but the key response will be determined theoretically or empirically. So here there is no empirical data. See, suppose if you are conducting an introversion and extroversion scale, okay, the person who are introvert, they may say not interested. Extroversion people may say yes. Even ambiverts will be there. Okay, they may say 50%. So here maybe, may not be. So the 50% probability of answer correctly guessing is also very important. What kind of answers they are giving. So here, Kolkata is not the capital of India. So this is a straight question. We can answer. Okay. So these are the things we need to consider. Whenever we are going with the personality or opinion type or true or false items, we need to consider what are the major instruments are there in that session, in the questionnaire. Based on that, whenever we are going with the true or false questionnaire, we need to be more careful and we need to get the answer from the people. So here test assessors are very important. Now, what are the analogies are there? We'll see. Here, the most commonly found in test intelligence is analogies. Okay, so suppose if you are using the maths, 46 is to 24 as 19. Okay, what is the answers? A, B, C. Here the multiplication we have to do the answer. So here analogies may or may not be in multiple choice format. Sometimes it may go with the better strategy of psychometric test. Okay, here what are the analogy item has only one correct answer. Okay, so here whenever we are going for the analogies, we need to see what is the right answer. So they will give the four answers. We need to find out which one is the perfect. So suppose this is the question. 46 is to 24 is a 9. So here what is the answer 9? 9 means 4 into 6, 24. 1 into 9, 24. Okay. So like this we need to calculate. Now the last one, bold man out. These items are composed of words or numbers, okay, in which component does not belong. Suppose, example, donkey, camel, llama, ostrich. Here, ostrich does not belongs to all the animals. See here, donkey, camel, llama are four-leg animals. What is ostrich? It's a bird. So here we need to ask them what is the odd man out in this. Okay, in these items, the person can quite varied in the difficulty level and are not limited to birds. So here they need to pick the odd man out. Okay, so here legness in the above example. Suppose here we can see the four legs are birds, or whereas ostriches have two legs. Okay, and next sequence. Whenever we are giving this kind of test sequence, suppose here we are giving 5 numbers 6, 13, 17, 24, 28. Okay, what is the next number comes in the sequence? Okay, so we will see here four multiple choices here 32, 35, 39, 46. Actually, first we need to understand what is the sequence this 6, 13, 17, 24, 28 following. First, we need to address the sequence. So, what is the difference between 6 and 13 is 7. Okay, and 13 plus 7 is 4. So, here what's happening? 17 plus 7 is 24. So, here what's the next number? Okay. So, here the answer is 35. Why means increasing alternative by 7 points. First, they increase 4 points, next 7 points. So, whenever we are going with this, we need to first see the sequence. First, we need to identify the sequence, then we need to go with the right answer. Here, only one answer will be the right. Next, matching items. Actually, here, this typically consists of two lists. One is list A and the list B. Okay, suppose we'll take an example of in the cities, Hyderabad, Calcutta, Cuttack, Chandigarh, Chennai. Okay, states. What are the states? Odisha, Telangana, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Punjab, Haryana, Kerala, Maharashtra. Okay, these are the states. So here they asked you to manage matching the items. So here first we need to address the matching. So here we need to see what are the historical things, the events behind this, and here we'll see the specific factual knowledge of the person. Okay. So whenever we are giving this kind of test, we need to see the group and what is they are carrying. Then only we need to conduct the questionnaire. So whenever we are giving the matching items, here we have only two groups. Okay. Next, completion of items. See, in this test, we don't actually sentence completion test. Suppose you said my father is so and so. Whatever comes, first of all comes into your mind, you need to fill that. Here, it's coming something like a rapid fire round. Actually, here, Wound established his laboratory in this year. I'm always good. Okay. Suppose my best friend meaning for me. Oh, there stands for me. Men over me. So see here, whatever thought is coming, actually this test is very simple. And here there's no right or wrong answer. Whatever the by conducting this test, we can understand the person's personality at the same time how the psychological functioning is happening here. Okay, here there's no right or a wrong answer. So in the previous things, yes, match the following sequence everywhere we have the right and wrong answer. But in the completion of items, okay, first thing is sentence completion test, all this test, we don't go with the right or wrong answer. We will understand the person's personality aspect in the psychological function. Okay. Next, fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks. This can be considered as a variable of the completion of item. Actually, here, whatever the required response is coming in variety of position. Suppose we take an example. Dash established the first psychological laboratory. Actually, who established the psychological laboratory? Okay, please remove. So here, only one answer. Okay, there's no multiple choices. So here, if the person know the answer, then only he can answer the questions. I mean, see, it's not like a match the following or something like that. But there is no multiple choice also. Okay, so here the filling, it's a completely variant of the completion of the item test. So here, if the person doesn't know the response, then we may give the blank answer. Next one, fourth choice items. Fourth choice items consist of two or more options. Okay, here we will give you one statement. Next, we'll give you two answers. Suppose we'll take an example of which item best characterizes you. Okay, this was my statement. So here I have two answers. The first one is I would rather go fishing by myself. I would rather go fishing with friends. So here the person is having the two introversions. One is would reflect what is the if the person is a introversion, okay. So he will say that I would rather go fishing myself. Suppose if the person is an extrovert, he will choose the answer I would rather go with fishing with my friends. So here in the first item choice items, we can understand the person's personality depends on the question. Okay. And yeah, we can see what are the items the person is picking. Based on the picked item, we can understand these personality traits. Next, vignette. Vignette is a brief scenario. Actually, if the like the synopsis or a play or novel, the subject actually here we will ask the react in some way to the essay, perhaps by providing a story completion, choosing from a set of alternatives or making some type of judgment. Suppose example, studies that have used essays, most of the time we use the essays and we'll ask the person, okay, uh, what did you pick? What they call passage. Suppose in this knowledge, we'll give you some question from that essay and we'll ask the person to answer. So here they need to pick the answer and in weakness, they need to read the story and they need to understand and they need to, then only they can answer the questions. So here, this is called a passage, means impliciting of the knowledge. If the person is unable to understand or unable to get for the judgment, okay, then he can't answer. That's the reason Vignette is useful to understand the play or a novel from the synopsis. Okay, and rearrangement or continuity items. This one type of item that is relatively rare but has potential. Okay, here, whenever we are looking for the person's knowledge about the order of a series of items, for example, we might list a list of names such as William and Lewis Terman, Arthur Jensen, and ask. So here we can ask what is the order? What is the ascending order or descending order? So here they need to mention the, by seeing the scoring key, they need to mention the order. Suppose in which year they started doing the things. So like this, it's called continuity of items. The next one, objective subjective continuum. Actually, here, different kinds of test items can be thought as of occupying a continuum along dimensions of subjective or objective matter. Here, what is the objective items such as multiple choice items are the best. Here, whenever they can easily score and it contains only one correct answer. It can handle the statistically with relative case. And here they have option A and option B. So all these things are important. And here they can guess also. And yeah, actually luckiness will be there in the guessing. And they have the wiseness. So suppose if you know the answer, you can pick the right answer also. If you already have a read, if you already read or not. Okay. Here the open-ended items such as tell me more about it. So these are the things will be there. What brings you here? Okay. How can I help you? How can I be of help? Or these are the meaningful assessing in client. So whenever we are going for the questions, objective, subjective, continuum. So suppose if you want to talk to the client more, then we can ask what brings you here? How can I help you? What is the best thing we can do? And how was your day? So all these things. Here, next the important thing is item writing. When a professor announces there will be a test, okay? Here, what kind of a test? Is it a true or false or multiple choice? Or else fill in the blank or sentence completion, or else a sequence test. So here we'll see the different sorts of responses. Okay. So whenever we are seeing this kind of test requires right or wrong answers, item writing. So here, whenever we are going, we need to explain very clearly what are the items we are doing. Suppose if you are going with the matching, match following, then we need to explain about the match following things. Okay, if it is a true or following, true or false, there we have to explain about the true or false. And the first important, defining clearly what is wanted to be measured. Actually, in item writing, we need to understand from the substantial theory as guide is done, try to make items as specific as possible. See, suppose if you don't have any if you don't have any knowledge about what you are doing, then we can't. So we need to know where we are focusing, what are the items we are focusing. We need to write about the items. Like generating an item file, item pool. Here, whenever we are generating the item pool, here we need to see what is the what are the initial phases and selecting writing 3 or 4 items for each one. Okay. Whenever we need to pick the items from the scale, which one is giving more prominent answers to that. Okay, initial phases. Avoiding exceptional long terms. See, long-term items are often confusing or misleading. That's the reason we most of the time we will avoid the long-term items. Okay, the next important thing in item writing, keeping the level of reading difficulty appropriate for those who will complete the scale. Okay, suppose here you need to make the words in a simple format. You don't need to show your the full English knowledge here. You need to make it as simple and write it down in a simpler language. What are the items is describing? Is the describing what exactly the content? So by making it a simple, it's very reachable to the person. Next, avoiding double-barreled items that convey two or more ideas at the same time. Suppose if you are going with the agree or disagree with the statement. Okay, I vote Democratic because I support social programs. Here there are two statements with which the person could agree. So I vote Democratic one and I support social programs. So this is called double barrel gun. One is in one person, two answers. Okay, so these kind of things we need to avoid. Okay, consider mixing positively and negatively worded items. Suppose if the respondents developed acquisition response set. Okay, here sometimes they will avoid it. Suppose I vote democratic because I support social programs. So here what's happening? There are two different statements which the person could agree. I vote democratic and I support social programs. Okay, so these kind of things we need to avoid. Next one, considering mixing positively and negatively word items. Actually, whenever we are going with that, we need to see acquiescence and response set. Okay, what is the order we are going with, and what are the negatively questions? Suppose I felt depressed. Okay, however, the opposite direction. I felt hopeful about the future. So here, what happening after the time changes, they may get into the I felt hopeful. Okay, then that is like hopefulness has come. For example, the stress D. Okay, concerning the appetite. Okay, the first answer is going on. So here, mixing positively and negatively word items. So here, the person is depressed, but I felt hopeful about the future. He do have hope. So this is a mixed positively and negatively. One is positive, the other one is negative. So here two items are mixing. Hopefulness at the same time. So it may go with the same thing. Actually here, these things, the American for white respondents, Foley, Reed, Neutron, and Devilish 2002, they explained very well. Okay, about this. Mixed items. Positive. In one answer, we have the positivity, and the other answer, we do have the negative items. See, the person may choose. I mean, sometimes he may feel depressed. At the same time, he do have hopes to about the future. So he is answering for the two. So mixed positively worded items also we need to consider. What are the things he is going with the mixed answers. Next, whenever we are going for the item formats, we need to check what are the probability experiences the person is carrying with his specific response. Is it correct or not, or alternative answer? Actually, here we need to see true, false, and multiple choice examinations use this system. Okay, whenever we are going with the item formats, we need to check is that multiple choice. What is that revealing about that? Suppose if you are seeing for the attitudes, what is it's evaluating? If you are seeing the knowledge about traffic laws, okay, what is this items or questions contains? Is it related to traffic? Okay, suppose if you are associating with the health condition, is that questions are related to that or not? Okay, actually, the simple test of this type uses dichotomous format. What is dichotomous format? Actually, whenever we are offering two alternatives for each item, okay, usually a point is given for the selection of one item. Selection of one item, it gives you alternative exam. So in dichotomous format, we need to see what are the common example of the format. Is the true or false or yes or no? So even in dichotomous format, we need to check this test presents students with a series of statements. The student tasked to determine which statements are true, which statements are wrong. So here we need to see all those things. whenever you are going with that. And the polytomous format. Sometimes it's called polycotomous format. Okay. Here, whenever we are seeing the two alternatives, okay, what is the alternative is giving, what is the answer is giving. Multiple choice examination is called polytomous format. Once here you are encountered with the multiple choices questions. Okay, what is the major advantage of this? Not to have right. Okay, here no need to write. You need to choose one answer. So this is sometimes called polytomous also. So here there is no distractors. Okay, one is the answer is right. It's true or correct. And Likert format. One popular format for attitude and personality skills. Most of the personality skills they go with the Likert format. Actually, Mr. Likert method is introduced in 1932. It's called method of mm, attitude scale construction. Actually, here in Likert format consists of items such as I'm afraid of heights. Here only two answers, yes or no. Strongly agree or disagree. Five answers will be there. So here we need to check with the five answer or we can choose six answers. So mildly agree, mildly agree, moderately disagree, strongly agree, all these things. So in Leica format, most of the time it measures, it will give you a statement. Then we need to choose the, uh, out of six, we need to choose one thing. Okay. The category of format. Here, whenever we are going with the category of format, most people are familiar with 10-point rating scale. Uh, Ask you questions such as on a scale from 1 to 10, with 1 is the lowest and 10 item is the lowest. Actually, whenever the people are going for the market surveys, they use this category format more. Okay. See, how would you rate your new boyfriend in terms of attractiveness? Okay, so 1 to 10 scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, depends. Even which project you are using. Okay, what is the scale? And what is the point scale? Suppose you are understanding, you watch one movie, in what, how you will you rate? All these things, even if you're using some product. Okay, what is the thing? So here, all these things. Next, checklist and cue search. One format common in personality measurement is the adjective list. Actually, it's Dove 1960, he mentioned. Okay, it's called subject to receive as a long list of adjectives and indicates whether each one is a characteristics of himself or herself. Actually, an adjective checklist can be used for describing either oneself or someone also. For example, in one study at the University of California, raters checked the traits they thought that characterize a group of 40 graduate students. Okay, here what are the exceptional things they will see? Okay, actually here in this we'll have a wide range of interest. Okay, they will give you a lot of cards and you need to pick some card. And here the productivity, gets things done, and the dramatization will be there. Sometimes it is chronic, okay, and the overactive to minor frustrations, irritability, all these things will be there. And it appears to have high degree of intellectual capacity, seeks reassurance from others. Okay, whenever we are going with the people, yes, and basically it's anxious also. I mean, so this kind of sort of, in this method, all these things will face. These are the questions they asked in the Berkeley, these things also, 100 statements. Yeah, sometimes they go with the item analysis. Item analysis is very important. One means in item analysis, we will understand what are the good items, what are the things it's explaining, what are the launched items, and which item is taking more attention. And yeah, item difficulty. In item difficulty, we need to see the ability. Okay, item difficulty is defined by the number of people who get a particular item correct. For example, 84 people are giving the only one answer to get item 24 correct. Then we need to. Then the difficulty level for the item is 84%. So suppose if everyone is giving the one answer, we need to check. The higher the proportion of people who get the item correct, okay, the easier the item, how card should be, item is in good test. So these are the things we need to consider. Okay, yeah, the formula is very simple, divided by 2. Step 1 is find half of the difference between means 100 minus, suppose if it is 1%, success chance minus 2.58 divided. Okay. And item discriminability. Here, item discriminability, in the previous section, we discussed about the analysis of item difficulty. Here, we'll discuss about the what is the success ratio of the this thing, the item. So, who get this item correct? So this will come under item discriminability. Next, the extreme group method. In this group method, we will compare two groups who have done well with those who have done poorly on test. For example, you find the students with the test scores in top third and those in bottom third of the class. So here we'll see the difference. So then we can understand. So this is called extreme group method. Actually, whenever we have two groups, then only we can find out. So we can use this group method. Otherwise, there is no point to follow this. The point of Bisslerial method. Actually, this is the another way of examining the discriminancy of items is to find the correlation. Here we need to apply the formula. Okay. RPBVS minus Y1 minus Y divided by SY or square root of PX divided by 1 minus PX. Okay, this is the formula we need to apply for the biserial method. Okay, here R point base means the point Biserial correlation or index or discriminability. Y means the mean score on one, the test for those who got item one correct. Y means the mean score on the test of all persons. S means the standard deviation. S1 means scores of all persons. P means proportion of P. And persons getting item correct. Okay, picture on item characteristics. A valuable way of learned about the item is graph their characteristic, which you can do with the item characteristics curve. Here, whenever we are doing with the item characteristic curve, first we need to see the individual item graphs. Okay, first, yeah, we know X is a horizontal, the Y is the vertical axis. Okay, here one will post in this and the other will post in Y axis. So here we need to check. And yeah, drawing the curve, the item characteristics curve. Here, whenever we are drawing the item characteristic curve, we need to see what is a single category, like 65, 67, which makes them. So we'll put in one curve, the other points we'll put in the other curve. Then we'll join that. Okay. Then this graph shows in the, actually here, x-axis, y-axis. Will point out how much the score is. So this graph may go like this. Okay, you can refer your books also, what are the item characteristics. Whenever we are using the graphs, by seeing the graph only, we can understand what is the output of that. So actually, it's an alternative expression of and short way expression of the multiple choice examination or whatever the results we are seeing. So here the curve is gradually rises means it's rising, the performance is increased. If gradually decreases means it's decreasing. Suppose if the curve is like little bit tilting, then we'll see the approximity is more like troublesome. The person is having a lot of troublesome problems. Okay. So here we can see the characteristics of the, by seeing the characteristics of the curves, we can understand what are the poor items, what are the range of the items we can see. Okay, low sensitivity level, high sensitivity level. Okay, what is the range? And all these things we can understand. Item response theory. It's a new approach to item analysis, have generalized a new model of psychological testing. Actually, this method is, Mr. Anai, 2003, he said, according to the classical test theory, a score is derived from the sum of an individual responses to various items. Okay, here Mr. Holland and Hoskin also item response theory that cleared. Okay, here we need to see these things in the item analysis. Now we'll do what are the things we learned. We will just have a gist of that. First thing, reliability and validity. Next, standardization and norms. These are very important. To standardize means that the administration, time limits, scoring procedures, all these things included in the standardized norms and a constructed and selected response and the item analysis. Okay, these are the things we learned in this class. So that item, actually the important thing is in this chapter, test items and item writing And even item analysis is very important. So whenever we are doing with this, we need to go and see this item rating and okay.